Hey, you guys. Thanks for tuning in to the Gay Sports Fanatic today. Today's topic is on one franchise. It is the Dallas Cowboys in 2024. So, I just finished watching recently this series on a streaming service called America's Sweetheart, and it's about the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. And these girls that try out for this team, God, the ones who make it, they are tenacious, they are athletic, they play through injuries, they are tough. And I had no idea what it took to become a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader until I saw this show. They also have a couple of headmasters, coaches, you might say. These two are tough, okay? I mean, really tough. So, anyway, park those thoughts for a second. I'm going to return to that. So we have the Dallas Cowboys. A little bit of background: in the 70s, they were tagged the America's team. And then the NFL today, they might as well had on Dallas Cowboy jerseys. You had a TV show that was number one called Dallas. The Cowboys were basically a character in that show, but they were winning. So, you could kind of, if you can make up a name like America's team, if you can back it up. And in the 70s, they could kind of back it up. And winning, like being good looking or having a lot of money, it covers up a lot of flaws that you just don't look at. However, when the winning goes and the beauty fades and the money disappears, bank account disappears, you start looking at things a little differently. So we get into the 80s, and the Dallas Cowboys go into a major slump. So by the what I'm going to call the second most transformative year in Dallas Cowboy history, putting aside the Super Bowls, is 1989. Jerry Jones buys the team, and he promptly, first decision, he fires longtime legendary head coach Tom Landry, which I don't disagree with him that should have been done. Landry was past his prime. It was time for him to retire. This could have been handled maybe a little more with a little more class, but anyway. So we come to the 90s, and very quickly the Cowboys turn around. So for the first half of the 90s, you can certainly make the case, and I think you could make the case, that they were the best franchise in the NFL in the first half of the 80s. They won 3 Super Bowls into the mid 80s, and you can't knock that. I mean, the results are there. So they had Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith. They had an awesome team during those years. This is probably the point where Cowboy fans would like for me to just shut this video off, because what can we talk about since in the last 30 years since then? Basically nothing, unless you want to talk about disappointment, uh, disillusionment, uh, bad coaching, bad not use of free agency. Uh, us, just they've had some good regular seasons, but it's the playoffs. So for 30 years, they have not made the NFC title game. 30 years. Yet they still have the moniker America's team. They still are worth almost $10 billion, more than any other sports franchise. Networks battle to get their games on TV because they get the highest TV ratings. Now, somebody in the comments or somebody tell me why, okay? I mean, why? 30 years of doing zip, and they're worth all this money and all these people watch. So I don't know. Maybe it's the same reason that I'm doing this channel about them today is the reason. So anyway, let's cut to this year. So let's start at the beginning of the year in January. So the Cowboys had a great regular season. The quarterback, Dak Prescott, was runner-up MVP. They just had a great season. However, in the NFC, there were some real titans sitting out there in the playoffs, and that would be, of course, the Eagles, obviously the 49ers, the Lions. So the interest going into the playoffs was how they would stack up against these teams. Well, Dallas did us, once again, a great favor. The Cowboys didn't ever have to face any of these teams because they lost right out of the gate. So in comes a 10-8 Green Bay team that, by the skin of its teeth, made the playoffs last year. They come floating into Jerry World. They're heavy underdogs. I don't think anybody expected Green Bay to win this game outside of Wisconsin. And they not only won this game, but they kicked the bejesus out of the Cowboys, 27-7 at the half, 41-14 at the end of the third quarter. Turn out the lights. The party is over. Pack up your pads and leave. So that brings us to now. So we sit here at the moment of this taping. CeeDee Lamb is not signed yet. Okay, to make that clear. One of the best player on the team, certainly offensively. And so here we sit. So we've got Dak Prescott, franchise quarterback. He is in his last year of his massive contract. You got the coach, Mike McCarthy. He wasn't given any contract extension. This is his last year, too, of any contractual obligations that he has. You also have CeeDee Lamb sitting out. I can't believe they don't pay up here soon and get him in. But so got Micah Parsons. You have basically no running game. In fact, of all people in this world, you brought back Zeke Elliott, who was a has-been last year, and he's at the bottom of the wrong side of the hill this year. And I'm sure they got him for a absolutely bargain bin price. So he's like the sidewalk sale after a bar closes at 2 o'clock. Who's left? So anyway, this is what I would do if they get into the regular season, and maybe they have a great regular season, but they get in the playoffs and they start screwing up again. After watching this cheerleader show, I'd put them in. I'd trade them out. I would have the players be the cheerleaders and the cheerleaders just take over. They couldn't do any worse, could they? So this is what I gotta say. This franchise this year, this is the most transformative year ever in the history of the Dallas Cowboys. Because I'm telling you what, in to me, anything less than an NFC Championship appearance, anything less, and that's the bare minimum here, folks. If you don't do that, then I say, Dak, hit the road. And I know how hard it is to find good quality franchise type quarterbacks in the NFL. It's tough, but look, he's tried, true, tested, and failed. Gone. The coach, I don't know what I'd do with this guy. I might flip a coin. I'd maybe keep him, maybe because he hasn't been a flop as long as say Dak or some of the others. I'd flip a coin on him. And Jerry Jones, maybe it's time for you as well to realize that time has passed you by, and you can remain obviously you're the owner. Maybe get out of the football operation so much and hire a football person, not your son, who, by the way, I think said this morning that they would be resigning CD and I think Micah Parsons and Dak. They'd sign them next year. I'm like, why? Why? What have you got for this money? I mean, start over. Like I said, put the cheerleaders in. So anyway, that's what I have to say about the Cowboys this year. More than any other team, any other franchise, be on the lookout for them because it is make it or break it, in my opinion. And I'll bet there's a number of Cowboy fans out there that will agree with me, not Jerry Jones's son, that we re-sign all the losers that have been losing for years. So anyway, that's my thoughts for the day. This is the Gay Sports Fanatic. Be sure to share, comment. If you like, dislike. If you, I probably get a few of those dislikes. So we'll see you later. Thanks a lot.